Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was a battle of unbeatens at the Brentwood Centre last night, and it was between Constantin Ursu, who is a Moldovan based in Plymouth, of all places, taking on Lewis Booth. And Constantin Ursu won it with a second round knockout, a one-punch knockout. He's a southpaw, and it was a backhand to the body, which landed absolutely perfectly. I don't know, solar plexus, or I think it was solar plexus rather than the pit of the stomach. And there was a delayed reaction, and Booth took a knee, just could not get up. He just couldn't get up. It was just too much for him. And that's all she wrote, really. I mean, this was early in the second round. You have to say that really wasn't much in the first round. Ursu is very, very big for the weight, very big, and he looked almost a weight division bigger. But at the same time, I mean, we shouldn't be, too hard on him. I mean, he with only 5 KOs now in 12 wins, he looks like he hits harder than you might actually think. And in fact, he's only 24, so it might be. I can't see him staying in this division. I think he's welterweight at the moment. They were a pair of welterweights. I don't see him, to be honest with you, staying in this division for much longer. He's just too damn big. And at 24, of course, he's still growing. He's going to fill out somewhat. He's quite tall for the weight. I was impressed. What little I saw of him. Prior to this, neither man had really faced anyone. They'd faced a sort of regular journeyman type, so it was quite difficult to sort of predict the fight. But with 4 KOs in 11 coming in, you were thinking, okay, maybe he's got a little bit of punch. This was an interesting fight in the sense that you're putting 2 unbeaten guys together this early on in their careers, and you don't often see that. Very often you'll see people being, guarded and as they're guided, and there isn't really a great deal of much going on. But I suppose if you're facing all the regular journeymen, you're picking up a few rounds. Eventually, you've got to make that step up, and so it was good to see. And I mean, in the case of Ursu, I think he could go places. Again, I'd like to see more of him. He didn't really get a chance to show that much of his skill set, but at the same time, what we saw was good. It held his shape nicely. Like I say, southpaw stance. And he looks big. He looks really big for the weight. This is the only thing that bugs me slightly. I mean, I don't see him staying at that weight for long. If he wants to make a run for any kind of title, I don't know whether he'd qualify for a British title shot. He is from Moldova. I don't know whether he's got British citizenship, but I think they allow foreign nationals to fight for the area titles, or am I wrong about that? Anyway, Lewis Booth came in with 15 wins. He didn't have a single stoppage to his name, so he wasn't really going to cause Ursu many problems. And I repeat, there was really no one on his record. He's 28 years old, so he's older than Ursu, and it was just a one-punch knockout. I mean, Booth is from Doncaster, so if you know anything about regional boxing, Doncaster fighters, they have to sort of travel to get some big names, which is why I suppose he found himself in Brentwood, mind you, coming over from Moldova. That's what you call travelling. At 28, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into this defeat because it was just a one-punch, body punch knockout. So I suppose he could come again, but he's going to have to, without any KOs to his record, you've got to wonder how far he can go in terms of challenging for even like area titles. Ursu, on the other hand, looks like a guy whose KO percentage will increase, as he gets older, as he feels it, as he gets his man strength. And he's quite a big lad already. So a good matchup. I wish it had gone a few more rounds and we could have had a look at them both. I didn't know a great deal about either of these fighters. If I have seen them before, I can't remember it. I can't remember ever seeing them before. I watch so many undercard fights and they sort of wash over you. You know, if they're the sort of 40-36 decision things, you don't really remember them, do you? But I'd like to see more of Ursu. I'd like to see more of it. He had some nice poise, some nice, to be honest with you, Booth wasn't doing anything wrong. He was moving more. He was probably backing off a little bit more, but you would expect that if he's facing a guy who looks bigger and probably was physically stronger. And also, I don't know how Booth was getting on with the southpaw stance, but whether he's fought any southpaws before. I know he was about 4 inches shorter than Ursu, but yeah, I think this was a welterweight. Was this a welterweight or a 154 fight? I think it was a welterweight fight, but don't quote me on that. But I want to see more. I want to see more of Ursu, certainly. So I don't know if you saw this. Like I say, it was on DAZN, actually, a card from Brentwood Centre. If you did see it, you got anything to say? Perhaps you know more about these fighters than I do, because I've got to be honest, this was new territory pretty much for me. But leave your comments below if you've got any. And thanks for watching the video. And if you could subscribe to the channel if you're new, that would be great. And if you could hit the like button as well if you like the video. Yeah, if you do know anything about these two fighters, let me know and see what's your opinion on them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And I'll catch you later. Bye for now.